Have you ever noticed how some people pass the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam in one shot, while others keep failing even after weeks of study? Here's the crazy part. It's not because one person is smarter. It's because one person studied the way AWS wants them to think, and the other didn't. If you want to learn how to prepare the smart way, not the hard way, how to actually think like AWS, then you're in the right place. And hey, if you're serious about tech certifications, cloud careers, or study material that actually works, make sure you hit subscribe right now. Because every week I'm sharing practical exam strategies that help you pass faster and build real cloud confidence. All right, let's get into it. Everyone says, just do practice questions for the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam. But here's the truth. That's the exact reason most people don't pass on the first try. Because AWS doesn't test what you know. It tests how you think. In this video, I'm giving you the full strategy to prepare the right way, a 4-week roadmap, the mindset you actually need, and insider logic behind AWS questions. By the end, you'll know exactly how to prepare, how to study smarter, and how to think like AWS itself. Let's start with what AWS is really testing you on. Here's something most people never realize. AWS doesn't care if you can memorize 50 different services. It cares if you can understand how AWS thinks about the cloud. If 2 answers look right, AWS wants the one that's simpler, cheaper, and more secure. That's how they design their products. For example, imagine a question about storing backup data. You might see EBS snapshots and S3 Glacier as 2 options. Both technically work, but AWS is really testing if you understand cost optimization. So the correct answer is usually the one that makes sense financially and operationally. Once you learn to spot this logic, AWS questions suddenly feel easy, even the ones you've never seen before. And that's where we move to the real preparation strategy, the 4-week roadmap that actually works. But before we start, how long should you really study for this exam? Most people guess, but you'll know exactly in the next minute. Here's your 4-week, no-fluff preparation plan. Follow this, and you'll be ready, even if you've never touched AWS before. Week 1 and 2, build your foundation. Focus on EC2, S3, IAM, and the global infrastructure basics. Don't try to memorize everything. Just understand what problem each service solves. Use the official AWS Skill Builder or a beginner-friendly course like Stefan Marek's. Write 1-line notes per concept, not essays. Week 3, dive into security, billing, and support plans. This part feels confusing, but it's actually easy marks once you understand pricing models, shared responsibility, and how AWS support tiers work. Week 4, it's all about practice and review. Take 2 or 3 full mock exams, but don't just check your score, analyze every mistake. Ask yourself, what was AWS really testing here? When you can explain why your wrong answer was wrong, you're already thinking like AWS. And here's a bonus tip. Don't focus on remembering every service name. If you clearly understand what EC2, S3, RDS, and Lambda do, you're already 80% ready. Now here's the catch. Even with the perfect plan, most people fail because they read the questions the wrong way. So let me show you the reading strategy that completely changes the game. This is where most people go wrong. Not because they didn't study, but because they didn't learn how to read the questions properly. Here's the trick. Step 1. Read the last line first. That's where the real question is hiding. AWS loves to build long stories just to distract you. Step 2. Identify the goal. Are they testing cost, performance, or security? Once you know the goal, half the answers are instantly irrelevant. Step 3. Eliminate the fancy-sounding distractors. AWS loves to throw big words like multi-region or elastic scalability to confuse you. But if those features don't match the business need in the question, they're traps. For example, if they say cost-effective compute solution and you see both EC2 and Lambda, AWS is hinting at serverless. Lambda wins. The more you practice this logic, the more questions you'll start to solve intuitively. And if you've already watched my 100+ AWS questions video, go back to it after this and apply this strategy. You'll immediately notice the difference in how your brain processes each question. But knowing how to answer is only half the story. How do you know if you're actually improving? Let's talk about how to track your progress like a pro. Here's something nobody talks about. Most people study hard but have no way to measure their progress. That's why they feel stuck or burned out halfway through. The fix is simple. Create a 3-color system: red, yellow, green. Red means you don't understand it yet. Yellow means you kind of get it. Green means you can explain it in your own words. Use Notion, Google Sheets, or even a notebook. List all AWS topics and update them weekly. Watching those colors shift from red to green feels amazing. It's visual proof you're getting better. And here's a quick test to see if you're exam ready. If you can explain the difference between S3 Standard and Glacier to a 10-year-old without looking at notes, you're ready. Simple language means true understanding. Now, once your prep is on track, there's one moment that decides everything: the final 24 hours before the exam. Here's exactly what to do and what not to do on that critical day. The day before your exam is not about cramming, it's about clarity. Review only 3 things: AWS pricing models, the shared responsibility model, and the well-architected framework. That's it. Don't open 20 new tabs, don't start a new course, and don't panic. If you're taking the online version, check your webcam, internet connection, and ID the day before. Save yourself the stress. On exam day, stay calm and manage your time. You'll have 65 questions and 90 minutes. That's about a minute per question, with time left for review. If you're unsure about an answer, mark it for review and move on. Don't let one tricky question shake your confidence. And here's the secret: your first instinct is usually right. When you've studied properly, your brain knows the correct answer faster than you realize. Trust your preparation. And if AWS tries to confuse you with long wording, remember, they're not testing your memory, they're testing your judgment. Before we wrap up, here's the part nobody ever talks about: what to do after you pass, because that's where the real opportunity begins. Passing the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam isn't the end, it's the launch pad. Once you pass, update your LinkedIn profile immediately. Add your AWS certificate badge. It signals to recruiters that you've officially entered the cloud space. Then join AWS communities, Discord groups, LinkedIn groups, or Reddit forums. You'll meet people who work in cloud roles every day, and that's where opportunities start to appear. If you want to keep growing, the next step is AWS Solutions Architect Associate or Developer Associate. Those are the certifications that open serious doors in tech and remote work. Remember, the Cloud Practitioner exam isn't just a test. It's proof that you can start something, stick with it, and finish it. That mindset alone puts you ahead of most people who never even begin. So don't stop here. Keep building, keep learning, and use this certification as your foundation. You now have the 4-week roadmap, the mindset to read questions like a pro, and the habits to stay consistent. Follow this plan and you'll walk into your exam confident, calm, and completely prepared. If you haven't already, go watch my 100+ AWS questions video next. That's your hands-on boot camp to apply everything you learned here. Good luck with your AWS journey. Stay focused, stay curious, and I'll see you on the other side. Certified.